So today we are going to design fork assembly, monoshock assembly and triple tree for our electric vehicle. Stay tuned. Hola amigos, this is Omveer and welcome to my channel Mechanistude. We are designing an electric bike from scratch and this is our second video where we are designing different components on Solidworks. If you missed the first video where we designed the frame of our bike, please see the link in the description. So without wasting any time, let's have a look at the video. At our design process, I would like to say three things that I keep in mind before I start designing any component. First, we have to have some measurements beforehand so that we can make our sketches easily. Second one will be to draw the base sketch first and then base our future models on it. And the third one will be always keep your model proportionate to origin so that we can use different features of SolidWorks such as mirror and revolve. Also, in this video I will take you through the design process of the components, but I will not deep dive into the design. So today we will be designing three components: triple tree clamp, fork and the monoshock. First we will start with triple tree clamp. It will have different components, so first we will start with the upper part of the triple tree. It is the simplest part to design. If we look into the sketch, we can see that 45 is our offset distance that we set in our last video, and 170 is the distance between the two forks that are going to be inserted inside it. Also, the diameter of the stem that will be inside the headstock of the bike is 1 inch. So these are our basic requirements, and the outer shape can be developed as per our wish. Also, we can cut some of the metal so that it can use less metal and the weight will be less. So this is the upper part of the tree clamp. Next we go with the lower part. In this there are actually two parts. This is called stem. This is usually outside the lower clamp. For the sake of simplicity, I am designing it with the lower part of the clamp. So what I am doing here is I am taking the sketch that I drew for the upper part of the clamp, as we can see here, and I am using it base for the lower part of the triple tree clamp. I use a shape which is minimalistic in design and it will easily hold the forks. Then we extrude the stem that will be connected to the lower part. It will look something like this, and the length of the stem will be the length of the headstock that we designed in the previous video. Then we provide some threading on top of it. After that we try to design a part of the lower clamp where we can easily use the screws to tighten the forks. So for that we are using some sketch and plane to easily draw. We can see that here is a plane, and using this I will be designing the component. I use this plane to extrude a part of the lower clamp that will be used to hold the screw. And also to fill this blank space, I extruded one more part that will fill that place. Some part of the lower clamp like this. So as we are going to use the bolt to tighten this, I am using a thread tool of the SolidWorks. After that, as we are done with the one side of the clamp, I am using the mirror feature of the SolidWorks to mirror it to the other side. Also, I am cutting a part of the lower clamp so that it will take less metal and also it will be efficient. And I am mirroring this feature to the other side of the clamp. Remember that I asked you to keep the model proportionate to the origin so that we can use these kind of features. So this is our lower part of the tree clamp complete. Now we are done with the lower part of the tree clamp. Now we need to use the assembly feature in SolidWorks to assemble them both. So this is the completed assembly of the lower clamp, upper clamp and a nut I have designed. As I have told you, I will not deep dive into the design process, so I will tell you the process of making this assembly. First, I use the upper clamp and the lower clamp in a concentric mate here. Then I used a distance mate so that it can be at a specific distance from the top of the stem. After that I am using the lower face of the nut to connect to the upper face of the upper clamp. And after that I am using these two circles to be concentric. In the next step we are going to define the fork assembly. So first we will define the lower part of the fork. As I have told you, I already have some measurements for these components from the actual parts that I have. The first thing I did was to draw a sketch that will be used as a base sketch for everything. So first of all, I used the revolve feature to make the lower part. After that I extruded the center hole and used boss extrude to extrude these. For the upper part I am also using the same sketch which I used in the previous one. On this base sketch I tried to draw the sketch for our upper part and use the same revolve feature to draw it. Then I extruded the screw hole on top and provided some thread feature to it. So now we need to assemble them. This is the basic assembly and we can use simple mates for this. I am using the front plane of the upper part in incident mate with the lower part of the fork so that they don't rotate with each other. Then I am using a limit mate which decides the limit to which it moves with each other. This is our fork assembly. Next we move on to our monoshock. First we are going to design the lower part of the monoshock. For this also I am following the same procedure. First I am defining the base sketch which will be used for both the upper and lower part. For the lower part, first I extruded this part of the component. After that I used revolve function to draw this part of the component. And the next part is the upper part of the monoshock. This is the upper part. I copy pasted the same sketch that I was using in the lower part of the shock, which is this one. So I extruded this part of the component first. Then I used the revolve function to design this part of the component. The next step is to design this part of the component, where I am using the extrude function to extrude this component. Then on this plane I am using again extrude function to extrude this cylindrical shape. I provided some fillets to different parts of the component. And the last part of our monoshock is designing the shocker. Designing the shocker is also comparatively easy because I know the measurements beforehand, and in this also I am trying to use the sketch which we have for the monoshock so that we can easily design our shocker. The next step we have to do is we must take a plane perpendicular where we need to design our spring, and on this plane we have to make a circle of the radius we want to draw. So once we drew the circle on this plane, we need to use the inbuilt feature of Solidworks where we have to go to curves function and we will use helix and spiral. Here it will ask us the different options as per our convenience to design the spring. Once the spiral is done, it will look something like this. And the next step is we need to take a plane perpendicular to this plane and we need to draw a circle. I have used a circle to pierce into the spiral, and I am using 10 mm dia of spring, and I am using the sweep function of Solidworks to sweep it around the path. And the last step is to cut it flat from the top and bottom, and we will use cut extrude for that. With this our shocker is completed. Now we move on to the assembly of monoshock. So this is the completed assembly of the monoshock. I will not be able to deep dive into the assembly process. I will try to give you some idea on how to proceed with the mate. First I made the front plane of upper and lower component as incident so that they don't rotate with respect to each other. After that I used the axis of both the parts so that they align coincidentally. After that I used the flat surface of the spring to mate with the upper part of the monoshock component. Also the simple steps of mating cannot be used in the spring so that it can be aligned to both the upper part and lower part. So what I am doing here is I am mating the front plane of the shocker to any of the front plane of the other parts, and also I am mating the right plane of the shocker with the right plane of any of the upper or lower parts, so the shocker will be in center. Here completes our assembly of Monoshock. Also guys, I'm so sorry that because of time constraint I'm not able to describe this process in detail, but these parts are always available for download from GrabCad.com, and the link will be provided in the description. Please go ahead and download them and experiment with them. If there is anything you would like to know more about this, please let me know in the comment sections below. Thank you guys for watching the video. I hope you learned something from it. Also, I will put the link for getting the CAD files in the description. Also, leave a like if you loved watching the video, leave a comment if you want to know more about it, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out any future videos. In the next video, we will be designing swing arm and the wheels of the bike. Stay tuned. Thank you.